Be gone, Bitcoin red candle demons, be gone! Well, looks like we saw a nice little distribution. Just burning some sage to get rid of all those negative red candles. I'm just joking. Well, I'm not actually. We are burning sage. Here it is. We're gonna give Buddha the sage here. We'll let that burn in his hands in the meantime. I wanted to go over something because I missed it earlier. I was talking about the UTAD breakdown that we were looking for. And we brought it up in the private group, well, luckily before it went and broke down. Again, first, remember, we are in a bull market. So any dip here is going to represent another opportunity to buying. And, a big part of the question is, how low do we go? Jesus, there's a lot of red candles, be gone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually start by taking a look at the Bitcoin chart. And we are going to then effectively go over the distribution that we were looking at as well. So, okay, this looks very clearly like a rounded top now. And in the last live stream, I talked about how we are expecting a UTAD that usually breaks out of the top of the trading range. But apparently I don't study my own educational materials enough. Here is the schematics of distribution on the right hand side. What's interesting is if you look closely, the UTAD does not actually break out on the top for a rounded top. It tries to in phase C and then can't. And that was one of the things again, this is why we're always studying and always learning, is you can't know everything. So this is one of our educational materials that we send out in the private group. So as you can see at the bottom here, here's a rounded top by Arcane Bear. You think I'd get better at recognizing my own content, but again, let's take a look at what we saw here. We saw this kind of rising price movement right through here, which represented phase C. This was an interesting moment because again, normally the UTADs break through the top. So we have another version of that schematic here as well, which is another version of distribution, which you can look at, where the last point of supply weakness doesn't come up above the top of the trading range. Now, in our private group, we were kind of going over this in our live trading chat, and it's important to recognize these things. Now, distribution is really a question of how low does it go? We're in a bull market, so we can't expect it to go too low. But a schematic of distribution, this would be the first real distribution schematic that we've seen since we left 12 grand. And that's a pretty big deal. It's the first kind of noticeable change of character in Bitcoin, and it represents immediate top. So a big part of the question is, well, again, how low do we go? I'm going to delete this green line, and the relationship of the rounded top here. And the reason I wanted to go over this, I was laying in the jacuzzi reading my book, and I thought it was important to re-go over these things. Is in the earlier live stream too, I said if we couldn't get above the trading range and stay in here, then we were probably coming lower. This is the first time that we've actually touched a previous trading range as well. So even here, when we had this kind of spring moment, we didn't touch the previous trading range at all. And not to mention just that, we saw a fairly significant amount of weakness come into the rest of the market. Band dropped as low as $7.86. And then Ethereum as well actually dropped around $1,090, representing, again, another distribution-like top. So what's fun here is that because these are the first times we've seen basically intermediate tops in the bull market, it gives us a perfect opportunity to study something. So let's use Ethereum as the example because it's really clear. Bitcoin has a very clear example for it as well, but we'll go over that next. Actually, no, we'll start with Bitcoin because it's just as clear. So here, this is an important part to recognize, and this is the law of effort versus result. This is another kind of one of the main points of the Wyckoff trading analysis that you want to keep in mind. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to circle the negative sell volumes, and then we're going to take a look at the price spread that came from each of those. So primarily, this one here, very little price movement based off how much supply came in. This, we started to see an increase in price spread with less supply. So again, this was a intermediately bearish signal. And then here again too, larger price spread less supply, and then again, larger price spread, and this time more supply. Now, the reason this is important is because you're always wanting to keep an eye on how much price spread there is versus how much supply is coming into the market. Here again, you can see an interesting relationship. Let's measure this one versus this here. These are both effectively the same amount of supply coming into the market. And you can see a measurable price. We'll measure it from here, and then we'll measure it from here. So right now, we're actually seeing a larger result from that similar effort. So around 12% was that drop. And around 12 to 13% this drop. So very, very close and very similar, but at the bottom of the box. And at this point, more supply coming into the market. Now we are looking at the 45 minutes, so we're getting a little bit of a clearer image of these shorter time frame movements. But it's when we go to the daily time frame and we look at the older charts that we had been going over. And again, this is why I recommend for every new investor, your goal and strategy should just be to flex those investing muscles and just buy monthly without thinking about price. And again, if you're new to the market, and then remember that most retail investors don't get attracted to a market until now, because they're like, oh my God, it's going up. It's been going up every day. Fine, I'll just finally put some money in. Most retail investors start to show up late in the game here. And it's not great for them, obviously, because they're more likely to lose dinero at that point. But the investor muscle should always be the same. You should continue to invest regardless of price sentiment. And more importantly, as you go and you study these trading ranges, when you see them start to form, you accumulate like a madman, right? So accumulation during the upswing is not that beneficial. But look at how this looks on the daily. Again, this is the first distribution we have seen in this entire trading range since we left 12 grand. So this is our first top. Hey, isn't that exciting? Our first intermediary top. And I thought this was the perfect example to go over because it was a rounded top and it represented this schematic B, which we've gone over in the group before. For some reason, and I said this earlier, I was looking for a UTAD breakout. Here's the UT, but in the schematic B, the LPSY test doesn't actually get above the trading range. This is what forms this rounded top. Now we are in a bull market, so ultimately we're not coming back down to 12,000, but we had made previous conjecture in many other videos that what we could see is, let's open up here the perpetuals. We've got less going on in here. Yeah, just the current sideways trading ranges. And then we're going to open up our moving averages. So a really healthy retest would be something between 24 to maybe even as low as $20,000. Now, I don't think we'll get that low, but that would be nice, right? And this is, again, the reason why you want to flex the investor muscle, which is that so you don't think too much. Because a lot of early investors, I saw a few comments, people are like, oh my God, I just bought and it's going down. What should I do? Should I get out of my position? You need to learn how to be a good investor, which means you need to think in decades, not in days, not in hours, not in weeks. You need to think in multi-year time frames and accumulate based off that sentiment, because even if you had bought Bitcoin at $20,000, just 3 years later, you've still doubled your money. And that's a pretty important thing to recognize, is that long-term sentiment. Well, what about 3 years from now? How high will Bitcoin be? Because if it's at 300 grand, you won't care if you bought it at 40 grand and had to wait. But that's the investor mentality that you really need to continue to flex. And I thought this was the perfect opportunity to go over that. One of the reasons why we love studying these trading ranges, it gives us ample opportunity to really make use of what we're learning. So if we go in on the 4 hour, we want to go over this effort versus result sentiment another time here again. Okay, so we've just saw a beautiful rounded top. We can see we didn't close back above that box. Boom, perfect, clear indicator that we are going to come down lower. We could see a spike up here and then come back down even lower. That is often happens, and if we look at our schematics of distribution, we do see that often happens. Both schematics that we've drawn here. Now, these were the first ones. These are in the second PDF for those of you that are studying along with us in the private group. We do often get close back into the trading range over here. I'm just going to double check and make sure everything's rolling smoothly on the stream. Okay, nice, it is. Yes, okay. So when we start to see these types of moments, it really offers us the moment to be patient, and B, that educational aspect that comes around when the market does something. We don't get the opportunity to learn until the future kind of plays itself out. And that's one of the fun things about sentiment analysis is as you're learning, you have to wait for the market to develop for you to learn, because you can go back and you can retroactively study things like the schematic of distribution. But even still, I made a mistake of not recognizing that the UTAD here on a rounded top and the LPSY on the rounded top doesn't actually come above the top of the box. So it was a great learning lesson for me. And look how similar these are, guys. Here as well. Look at the way it kind of stubbed up near the top here on the trading range. And then again, on the schematic distribution, here's that LPSY. And again, the UTAD or the LPSY is just another way to say the same thing effectively, stubbed right up against the top of that trading range. This was like a perfect moment to see this kind of parallel move into play. And again, on the 1 hour here, you can see that the amount of supply and the amount of price, the effort versus result, started to increase. Here, effort versus result. Another one, effort versus result. And then finally here, the amount of result that you got out. And compared to this, look how little price spread on the left-hand side here you got for the same amount of supply versus this price spread here. These are always important to keep an eye on. So even though we are seeing a schematic of distribution, the big question is how low does that schematic take us? You know, when you're flexing your investor muscle, you should be, again, thinking in decades. It's a patience game. It's about finding consistent entries. Again, a lot of the retail traders don't get to a market until now. Like most newbie people that have never bought Bitcoin or Ethereum in their life don't show up when it's at $80 back when we started like screaming, guys, we're starting the bull market in well, probably March, April. Around April, I finally got all my canned food put together. I got everything set up in the house just in case the world happened to collapse, and I was good to go. So this schematic of distribution is very clear. Again, we're touching into the top of the previous trading range. We can see that here when we go into our candle sentiment. We have already had wicks. This is the first time we've had a wick actually touch the trading range. We were really close on the previous one too. And this volatility in the market is not like you don't want to be trading this. I'm not, and this is not a time to go short necessarily either, because we are in a bull market. So even though we've seen a 20% kind of corrective move, what we really want to keep an eye on is, can we get back above this trading range? Because if we don't here, we're going to come down lower. How low? Again, we want to see a test of the 21-day, the 21-week moving average. That would be really nice to see. So as we back off into the week here, you can start to see the other trading ranges. Primary examples of perfect places to go long was at 11,000, 23,000, and 27,000. Those were like three beautiful trading ranges, although they are much clearer with the line and area chart on the daily. What we want to do is, again, find that 3 moving average for our 21 and our 55 and our 9. So we could come as low pretty easily if we can't get above that trading range. Oh, and here's another interesting part too. This is the first time we've seen a distributive candle as well. Now, guys, for those of you that follow the Bear channel, you know I don't normally use candles, but here's a great example of when a candle can be a powerful sentiment. This tweezer formation that we're seeing right here, this is a very distributive top in the candle as well. So our primary 9 and the 21 are between around 23 and 19,000. This is how low we could come before we see much larger extensions. And that's going to be fun. That's because it offers another opportunity to build these potentially fantastic long positions, because Bitcoin could go to $300,000. If we look at the traditional stock flow models that are really popular in this sector, okay, everything's going smoothly, that we could go much, much higher for Bitcoin. In the long term, again, if you're thinking in decades, heck, we could go to $1 million Bitcoin. So the investor muscle should be consistent. The trading muscle needs to be adjusting daily, because it's kind of a learning process that you never put away. Like, I created this and I still made the mistake of not recognizing that the UTAD test here, will it let me draw on this too? Yes, it will. Okay. Yeah, this UTAD test here, I had forgotten that in a rounded top, it doesn't come all the way back. It primarily sits just below the top of the trading range. So again, when you're trading, you're always learning, and that's an important part. So again, I want to go over this to make it very clear. We're seeing two types of clear distribution of tops. Number one is our sentiment within this candle, the tweezer tops. And then secondarily, if we go back to our area chart and we look on the 4 hour, this rounded top, we're also the first time we've closed below the 55 moving average on the 4 hour. So we've got multiple signals right now that are saying we're ultimately bearish, at least in terms of distribution. Do we see a break back up top and then a larger swing down? That would be fantastic. That would be a very healthy correction. And I really want to see a test of the 21-week moving average before we continue higher. So again, this kind of brings us to the sentiment that we had talked about previously, which is that the next swing in the bull market, I think, is probably going to start around March. So we may consolidate lower here through February into March before we see the next big breakout. So what we'll be doing is we'll be looking for a new horizontal reaccumulation range, something like this, before we see a bigger move into maybe the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we see another parabolic vertical blowout top. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And again, guys, if you're new to trading, if you're new to investing, which I could tell by some of the questions earlier today that a lot of you are, you want to focus on flexing your investor muscle, which is to build a strategy that's a campaign based around quarterly or monthly buys where you don't think about the price. There is ample evidence that if you were to spend all of your time focusing on the charts and buy the exact bottom versus spending all your time looking at the charts, or no, spending none of your time looking at the charts and just buying monthly or quarterly, you're actually going to do pretty much just as good as the person who buys the exact bottoms perfectly by executing without thinking. And that's significantly more valuable because a lot of you probably shouldn't be trading because of how emotional I can tell you are by the conversations I've seen in the live chat. What you should be doing is going back to your regular day job and investing monthly or quarterly without thinking. You should have started in March or years before prior investing. But if this is your first time investing, don't let this scare you away. This is another problem that retail investors run into is they get scared away from the markets and they don't keep showing up. You need to keep showing up. Look at these beautiful trading range potentials that we saw here multiple times. You've got the one that down was 11 grand, 19 grand, 23,000, and then 27,000. These were the final trading ranges that offered very limited volatility and lots of upside. Now that we started to see bigger trading ranges and are starting to close below the 55 here, I would be very cautious in terms of like leverage trading. But again, if you're new to investing and you're just spot buying, your campaign execution should be a monthly thing where it's this day at this time, no thinking. Whatever the price is, you just click, boom. That's how you win this game on the long term. And that's how you win this game on the long term. I don't know, maybe I can say that again. That is how you win this game on the long term, is by accumulating objectively, obviously, the accumulation that you'd want was when we were studying this together back in March, and Bitcoin was back at $3,000 and we were $3,000 to $7,000, and we were in the primary trading range way back here. Yet the study is the same. Give yourself the place to look how overextended we are. We've talked about this many times. We've gone straight up since we left 12 grand, and we've seen no retracement. And we hit our first regression line here too. This is another important part. We topped out to our first regression line. And this is another really easy kind of significant way to tell where we're going. And then so it would be nice to see a return to that regression line of around 25,000 before a larger breakout, which is kind of what I'm expecting we're going to see. Another final reaccumulation range here before up. Now remember guys, the people that are buying have an enormous amount of money, and they also go short because there's equal opportunity to make massive amounts of money. People like Medallion, which have a hell of a lot more money than MicroStrategies, let's just be very clear about that. They have $160 billion in assets, where MicroStrategies has $1 or $2 billion in assets now. Not to mention they've been playing for a lot longer, so they're a lot better at it. They're not a buy and hold strategist, they're traders. Those are the people that change the market direction. They're the people that move the market direction down because they don't give a crap what direction the market's going. So it's really important to study and understand that. I highly suggest watching Jim Simmons' Mathematics, Money, and Making a Difference. It's a 3-part series at MIT. They're the most successful hedge fund in history. They did better than George Soros. They did better than Ray Dalio, Warren Buffett. All of them were outpaced by Jim Simmons and the Medallion Fund by orders of fucking magnitude. That's a big deal. They manage hundreds of billions of dollars, and they got in this ecosystem in April. So if we go over here, we take a look at Jim Simmons, Medallion Fund, Bitcoin. Okay, here you go. From FT.com, Financial Times, flagship Renaissance fund dabbles with Bitcoin. Let's see what date this is. April 18th. When did they get in? Right at the bottom. Renaissance manages hundreds of billions of dollars. It says 75 billion, but this is not true. It's closer to about 160 billion. I don't know how Financial Times got this wrong. So the 75, I don't know how they got this wrong, but it's a $160 billion hedge fund, Medallion, highly successful, open to Renaissance, only employees. The only way you can actually invest in their fund is if you're an employee, which is they started dabbling in Bitcoin and trading on the CME. These guys are fantastic at moving markets, and they don't care what direction it goes. All they're looking for is momentum. It's a big deal to pay attention to. So this volatility that we see in the markets are often being created by the people that have the ability to push the markets down because they have a lot of capital. And they don't care what direction it goes. Again, for them, volatility is just as sweet in either direction. And they're not looking for alpha in Bitcoin, obviously. They're looking for alpha in US dollars. Again, I highly suggest watching Jim Simmons. If you go to, let's see, actually, we'll just take the time. It's kind of late at night anyways, so who cares? If you go to YouTube and you type Jim Simmons, MIT, yeah. This is who you want to look up. This, the Fellowship Awards Fireside Chats, March 6th. These are absolutely phenomenal. I suggest watching these. This is the most lucrative trader ever. Keep that in mind. Fucking ever, okay? It's important to remember that because you've probably never heard his name. You've probably never heard of Renaissance unless I've mentioned it or maybe someone else is smarter than me has mentioned it. Jim Simmons and what Renaissance has put together is a very important part to understand how the markets function. So I do suggest watching those. It will help you understand that these guys don't care about accumulating more Bitcoin. They care about accumulating more US dollars because that's how they pay themselves. It's how they've paid themselves and forever, basically. Again, the most successful traders and investors in hedge fund ever in history started trading Bitcoin in April. We're up really high. It's no problem for them to try to push the price down. So again, what are we going over right now? Okay, 2 key points. Number 1, we're in a bull market. So even a small distributive effect like this for people who are buying spot shouldn't make a difference. If you just bought for your first time and you're stressed out the Bitcoin's going down, number 1, you should not buy too much at any given moment because then it will stress you out. You'll get emotional, you'll make a mistake, and you'll get pushed out of the markets. You won't show back up, and in the long term, you will have failed the investor muscle flex, which is to keep showing up on a monthly basis. Bang, execute, bang, execute. And that's really what I want you guys all to get in first and foremost. Now, secondly, for those of you that are studying, learning how to trade alongside with us, look at this. Is this not like the perfect example of a distributive top? And again, look, let's go in on the 1 hour. We've got multiple examples of why this was a distributive top. It looks almost identical, right? The UTAD, both schematics of distribution from our PDFs look identical. So nothing can be said in terms of the value of study. Like I wrote these, and I still today earlier made the mistake of saying I was looking for the UTAD to get above the box. Well, not in a rounded top, schmuck. How did I forget that? Okay, well, good. Now I probably won't forget that ever again, because it was a clear indicator that I forgot something, right? So this was a rounded top. The big question is how low. On the weekly, I'm looking for something around 25 to 22,000. And this is highlighted by our 3 moving averages, and basically the gap too. This is the first distribution we've seen since 12 grand. So this would be a nice area to look at, somewhere here. I don't know where it's going to go. We'll have to wait till we get there. But that's the first time we've had distribution, period. On the daily, first time we've broken the 9. On the 4 hour, it's the first time we've broken the 55 moving average as well. So we have some pretty clear evidence that it's bearish now, at least temporarily, and it's going to provide us another great entry for our long positions here, probably between now and March. So very exciting. It was a very exciting moment, guys. One of the big key moments too that could invalidate what I'm saying is, do we bounce off the 55 here on the 4 hour, come back above the box, and continue higher? So you're going to want to keep this in mind. Anything can invalidate it as well. You could call it, this could be like a giant spring or something effectively, right? Could totally go and prove me wrong. I'm like, oh, look, it's a spring instead. And this is kind of the fun parts of the trading range. We know we're in a bull market, so ultimately the bias is to the bullish side, even when you see these distributive effects from something like a rounded top. But more importantly, the ability to consistently study and learn is this beautiful key example here of this is another one too. We could compare it to like basically a rising wedge, but to me it looks more like that rounded top in the distribution schematics that we see here. So I'm going to take a look at a few of your guys' thoughts and questions. I'm sure you have them. Let's see here. I saw a super chat. Cody Reed has a super chat but took the message away. Oh, Cody, I would love to see your message. But so if you want, type it in. I'll try to take a look. Let's see. The thing is, without being an experienced trader, I wouldn't mind taking profits, but I'm in for long haul. This is another great, this is a great sentiment, guys. If you're investing, let's say you bought some Bitcoin at 3, 5, 7, 10 grand, and you're up, it's at 40 grand. It's like the most money you've ever had in your life, right? And you're thinking to yourself, you know what? I want to buy a camera or something like a tool. This is a tool for me. This is how I do my work. This is how I do my job. So like, I need to upgrade my tools for work so that I can do my job even better. You should definitely take profits to be able to do more of your own work better. Always do that. Or maybe you're like again, I think the examples that stand out the most to me are, maybe you've got for the first time enough money and your mom is having health issues. So you want to take her to the doctor. You take some of those profits, you take your mom to the doctor. You will never feel bad for doing that, even if Bitcoin goes back up, because life is fucking precious. So if there's a moment where you have more money than you've ever had in your life based off some of the entries you may have already made, I don't know where you guys entered effectively, you should do that. I'm still trying to think like 18 months into the future of where we're going here. So I'm not in a rush to close out my positions, and I don't want to go short because it's such a volatile market to the upside. It just doesn't feel great to me. Okay, so again, for taking profits, if to upgrade your tools, your skill set for business, to do something for your parents, always a good idea. Always a great idea. So you see how Kami's talking? So chill. Thank you. I just got out of the jacuzzi. I don't know if you guys can see how wet my hair was. I was reading my book. Now, at what point would you stop holding? Would you buy stock right now? I don't like stocks, no. I'm personally in love with this sector. I'm really enthralled by technology that can help the underbanked. That's why I bought Bitcoin in the first place. My first Bitcoin buys were at 90 bucks. Not because I was smart though, by any means. Otherwise, I would have bought like an enormous amount. No, I bought them by accident, basically. The second time I bought them, they were at $1,000, and I watched it collapse all the way down to 200 bucks. And that's when I started studying a massive amount of trading. That's when I was like, you know what? I'm going to get this right next time, because I bought at the top. I did what every retail investor does wrong, which is you buy at the top and then you sell at the bottom often. I didn't sell at the bottom. I held on to my Bitcoin, and I actually started buying more when they hit $400, $600, $800 back in 2017. So keep showing up. It's such a valid sentiment. Keep studying, keep learning. But again, that calmness comes from, well, years of practice and patience. And again, my love for this sector is because of the helping of the underbanked and the underserved potential here. Riot, blockchain stock. Yeah, I was chatting with my buddy about that one. It looks like it's fantastic. I mean, if you guys are in the traditional stock market, you got Tesla up like 10x. You've got Zoom up 15x. There's nothing wrong with diversifying. Bitcoin is just this new, this whole blockchain sector is this new kind of global venture capital sector. I don't think we can ever understate how valuable that might potentially be. So showing up here is important, I think, more so than the regular traditional stock market, because eventually I believe the regular traditional stock market is going to end up here, which means I believe that you're going to buy traditional stocks based off them being blockchain eventually. So that's probably not too far off in the future, in my personal opinion. So we'll keep going over a few more of you guys' questions here. What is Bitcoin doing? Yeah, it's making its first correction. Could go as low as 20 grand now. Leverage traders are panicking because they have to. Again, the world's most successful traders are leverage traders. Just keep that in mind. They're not investors. They're traders. Hundreds of billions of dollars. I really suggest everyone who's interested study Jim Simmons, because it's a big eye opener. And we could go much, much higher. Yes. Only newbies are panicking. Yeah, just chill out. Think long term. Think like an investor. Crypto is not for leverage traders. That is absolutely not the case. Crypto is only for good leverage traders. Let's say that. Everyone should see this as a savings account. Maybe not that, but I definitely think that the idea to just consistently keep investing forever is a great sentiment, and that might feel like a savings account. Okay, this is a great buying opportunity. Yeah, I don't try to catch a falling knife. We could go much lower. This is teaching me. Oh, thanks, American. I'm glad you are enjoying. Your $1,300 buy is irrelevant in Ethereum. Yeah, again, for those of you that are new, which is probably a bunch of people, that's always what happens in bull markets. The price goes up. It attracts the new user because it's for the first time. It's like, oh, it's going up. It's only going up. It's been going up every day. I'm finally going to get in. Hey, guys, give us a thumbs up if you like this content. It always helps other people find this information. It's always very supportive. So go ahead and double click that like button. Very helpful. Oh my God, what is Bitcoin doing? Just relax. It's all good. Should I sell what I have and buy the dip? No, absolutely not. Brandon, this is the problem with newbie investors. It's very difficult for you to sell and buy the dip because you're not trained to do that. You should just pick a day every 1 month or 3 months and buy and ignore the price. That's how you'll be successful. And you should do that for the next 50 years. Yeah, Brandon, you'll just make mistakes following your emotion there. You're going to panic buy and panic sell, it sounds like. So don't just relax. Think about executing a campaign like a gangster. A super chat from Calvin Smith. Where is that? Where's the Calvin Smith suit? You guys are so nice. You leave a super Calvin Smith. You leave a super chat and you don't even ask a question. You just give us $20. Thanks. Actually, you know what? Speaking of fun things, let's take a minute here because Calvin just gave us $20 and didn't ask for a question in any way, shape, or form. Let's go do something again nice on Kiva. So guys, I'm a huge fan of a platform called Kiva.org. If you have never heard of it, it is a no APY lending platform for underbanked, underserved entrepreneurs around the world. So what we're going to do right now is, because Calvin just gave us some money, we're going to go lend that money to an entrepreneur. So if you've never sign up for Kiva first off, and if you want, you can join the Arcane Bear team. So we can all lend together and we can help fund entrepreneurs together, and they actually pay you back. So as you can see in the account that we've been building here as part of our BlockFi, we put the money in, and then look, they pay it back. So look, this entrepreneur that we lent to a few months ago has already repaid 44% of the loan. So we have $95 more to lend. So right now we're going to go find, let's pick some women business and entrepreneurs to lend some money to. Here you go, Enith in Vanuatu. So Vanuatu is a tiny little island. Let's see what she does. I always look for the field boring partner rating to be a little bit better, because it's just like a habit of mine. Let's see, Everlyn in Kenya. We haven't lent any money to anyone in Kenya before. Okay, here we go. So 68% funded. She needs $150. Well, we won't give you the whole 150, but we'll get you close. So Evelyn's a 31-year-old mother living in Viaga, hosts a number of elite athletes, and her main source of income is selling produce from her farm. So although she's been making profits from farming, she has identified market for selling cereals and wants to continue to grow her business. So she's requesting a loan to buy a variety of new cereals, including corn and beans, to sell in her local market. So let's go ahead. We're going to lend her some money now. We'll give her $75. There you go. Thanks for Calvin Jr. Smith here for helping instigate another loan this evening. There we go. And we also are going to make a donation to Kiva. We'll actually bring this down here a little bit. Custom amount. Sorry, Kiva, you're only getting $7.77 today from that. And there we go. Continue. So thanks for that. That was hopefully a nice little fun moment for the evening. Thanks for the super chat, Calvin. I appreciate it. Okay. Awesome. Let's take a look at more of your guys' questions. F Bitcoin Cash, you think Ethereum will go up over 1K now? Again, guys, if you're a new retail investor and you're feeling emotional, you need to calm down, be patient, and you need to write yourself a strategy that has a month-over-month basis that says, hey, look, I make this much every month. First off, you should ask yourself the question, do you budget at all? Like, do you know how much money you make and how much you spend every month? Because if you don't, you should. And then from there, you can build a strategy for how you would invest. That's a really important thing to do. And the reason why people get so emotional is probably because they're not doing that. So that's a great start. So please do that. Yeah, Brandon, you need to think much more about your everyday workflow. ADA, okay, we'll take a look at ADA. What's your thoughts about Bitcoin Cash? I think Bitcoin Cash right now is going up because a lot of retail investors look at Bitcoin and think it's too expensive, so that they then don't invest, which is not a great sentiment, because even though Bitcoin Cash could go up, the community already decided Bitcoin is the real Bitcoin. So whatever silly friggin' crap Roger Ver or what the hell is that guy's name, Mr. Wrong had said, they're obviously wrong, because the community decides. I don't care if Blu-ray is better technology. DVD was better, and then before you know it, nobody uses a DVD anyways. So what point is how good the technology makes as an investment? It doesn't invest in what's cutting edge, because it will probably be replaced in a few years anyways. I mean, Bitcoin could even still be replaced. We don't know. We don't know yet. But currently, based off a $700 billion market cap that Bitcoin has, it definitely seems like the market has already decided who the winner is. So keep that in mind. Thoughts on Ethereum? I absolutely love Ethereum. It's one of my favorites. I actually like it a little bit more than Bitcoin, only because it offers, like Vitalik's idea about solving problems for the tragedy of the commons, quadratic funding. That's the reason why I joined this sector. Not so big, like, oh, so big hedge funds that had a bunch of money could buy the asset. It's so that the asset could actually help people in rural Rwanda, like we just did through Kiva. I don't see any of these people doing anything useful. I mean, Elon Musk, yes. Jeff Bezos, not a little bit, but Elon Musk is like the premier entrepreneur right now. Okay, hats off to him for being now the world's richest man. I appreciate that. He deserves it. So I really like Ethereum and what Vitalik thinks about. It makes sense. Okay, I'm going to read a question here, and I hope this answers everyone else who asks a question like this. Here he said, Matt Mudson says, I bought Ethereum at $1,296. I just want to sell to buy back lower. What would you suggest? You will fail. That's what I will say. My suggestion is to just shut up, listen to what I've said countless times. There are so many new people right here. What you need to do is ignore prices and think about monthly executions based off your budget. Because if you sell now and try to buy back later, you're going to hope that it goes lower. It won't. And before you know it, you'll have missed the trade and you'll be out of it again. So because most of you sound like you're new based off these sentiments and these questions, just shut up, build a strategy, budget monthly, and execute like a champion, because you're sounding like a little girl, like, oh my God, $1,200. Like, look, this is not how people make millions of dollars. They make millions of dollars over decades. You're going to buy back a week from now? Come on, you're just going to make mistakes. It's really important that you don't make those kind of like beginner newbie mistakes. You'll be much better off if you come up with an execution plan and you don't really think about prices. Now, if you want to study, if you want to learn more about these trading ranges, if you want to become a more valuable investor, join our private group, or even better yet, you can find everything for free on the internet. It's all over the place, but it's going to take time. You're not going to get rich overnight. If there was an easy path to getting rich overnight, everybody would be doing it, but it doesn't exist. Okay, we'll take a look at a few more of your guys' questions here. You're doing a great job. Thank you, Jadeep Singh. I appreciate that. Should I hope everyone who has questions like, should I close my long at a loss of 4%, understand what I just said there. Yeah, that would be great. Kevin Rosnell says, what time do you give Ethereum to 5x? Ethereum's already up a massive amount. If you're, okay, again, I don't know how many times I have to repeat myself. I don't even want to, basically. You guys are all asking the same newbie question, which is, and it's the same answer. I don't know how people keep asking the same question just in different formats. You're obviously new to investing. You're trying to make a lot of money quickly. You're not going to. That's not how this game works. So please don't ask silly, or let's see, don't do stupid things. It's a very simple answer every single time. It's the same approach no matter what. It takes a lot of time to make a lot of money. You're not going to win overnight, so don't try to. Chances are you're just going to lose money trying to win overnight. Okay, thoughts on Litecoin? We went over Litecoin in our previous video earlier today. Nice. Everline is funded. Thank you, guys. Thank you for helping support the Kiva campaign. Fantastic. I know we got her so close, right? She was only like $50 away. You guys are fantastic. Please, if you can, join the Arcane Bear Kiva team as well. We can make loans together, and they pay it back. You get that money back, and you can re-lend it out to entrepreneurs. It's amazing. It's not even like you're giving them. You're not donating money, right? You're lending it to them. And how what a beautiful thing for someone like myself who's interested in microfinances and loans. You could put up a graphic that tells people to stop asking the same shit. Yeah, I know. I totally should. I need like a button where I can just push it. It'll say repeat myself over and over and over again. Jesus, how intense. What is your Buddha predicting? I don't know. Let's burn some sage here. We'll try to get rid of all the newbie questions with some sage here. Okay, be gone, newbie questions, be gone. Rah, rah, rah. Can you take a look at ETH USD chart? Yes. Okay, wait, did I see 2 super chats? Yes, Corey Alo says, I really like your approach. It's very refreshing. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat, Corey. Well done. And then another super chat here from Codison Your Head. I have no idea what Codison is, but he says, can you take a look at the Ethereum chart? Yes, we will. We will do that. Anytime you guys give a super chat, I appreciate it. And as you see, Calvin gave us $20, and then because of that, we lent $70 to an entrepreneur. So you never know what kind of good things happen in the positive nature of the world of karma. Okay, so we want to look at Ethereum right now because of one of those super chats. So let's go ahead and pop open Ethereum, and we're going to do that by jumping over to this screen here. Okay, so Ethereum perpetual future. Whoa, Ethereum perpetual futures is right over here. Let's start back out on the daily. So we're following 2 things in the daily. Number 1 was the Livermore breakout. I actually thought we might see one more touch of 420 before we broke out. I thought we might do this and then go up. But as you can see, we had this little backup phase around $700 at the top of this megaphone, and it was like straight up. First distribution we've seen in Ethereum as well, by the way. So let's be a great little lesson. We go in on the 4 hour. Okay, here we go. This is going to be a great little learning opportunity. Actually, the 1 hour probably gives us a bit more clear data. Okay, so what we want to do is start off by drawing a horizontal trading range. Excuse me. Oh, come on. I hate when it does that. When you put it right on the price target as it's moving, it won't always let you grab your bar. It's super frustrating. Okay, Ethereum actually took that brunt a little bit better than Bitcoin. Yeah, wow, look at that. Okay, see, here's the UTAD type of top we were looking for that I thought we would see in Bitcoin before the breakdown. But let's take a look here. We've got supply characteristic, limited price down, and then supply, limited price down, and then here, look at this is a big change of character in the price down. Now, Ethereum actually hasn't broken totally down yet. I suspect we'll see as an LPSY, and then we may even come back down to $700, $800 before going higher. Again, what we want to pay attention to, guys, is that there's a much bigger story. And if you've been watching for a long time, I've always talked about the springtime. Springtime is very important to keep an eye on. It's usually where the bull market kind of recycles and restarts itself. So what we may be witnessing is a temporary distribution into that springtime. So I'm just going to be patient or look for new trading ranges. Ethereum here still could surprise us. In the beginning of the month in January, this is the trading range we are watching back here. And see, we haven't closed below that yet, which is another important factor. Whereas with Bitcoin, we came all the way down and touched this. With Ethereum, we've just touched the top of the previous trading range as well. We haven't closed into it yet. As soon as we start to close into the previous trading ranges, you can tell we're probably going to go probably a bit lower. That's for sure. But again, that shouldn't bother anyone. It should just represent a new area to accumulate. And that's why you should be thinking in decades and accumulating on a month-to-month basis. Here, this backup phase was looked like a good long. But again, we see some volatility and a fair amount of weakness in Ethereum at the moment. So probably at this moment with the new trading range that's forming like this, it looks like we saw our UTAD test. we could draw probably something like this as a rising wedge, effectively. We're going to probably look for a last point of supply and a weakness. If we can't get above the rest of the horizontal trading range, we will come lower with Ethereum, but again, only temporarily. We are just in the early stages of a bull market still. Ethereum, in my mind, we went over conjecture yesterday, and we'll actually go over that again, just because I think it'll probably provide some people some insight on my long-term outlook. Which one was it? USDT. Okay, so here's my Ethereum to USDT chart, which is specifically what you asked for. This is the first sign of distribution we've seen since we left the $600 and $700 area. This could very easily bring us back down to maybe say $800 before we form a new reaccumulation and a breakout pattern. But it's not till we get out on the day, further out actually on the daily here, that we see the larger story that we were talking about. I should start making, so Bitcoin already hit its upward regression line based off its previous all-time high, as we had looked at, this one. No, it was this one. Okay, so we're going to make a comparative analysis here between Bitcoin and Ethereum on the higher time frames. So Bitcoin's already touched into the top of its higher regression line. For those of you that don't know what that is, you can join the private Dan or just go do free homework by searching the internet for the words that I say. I don't want to go over it too much right now. It's starting to fade a little bit. This is 11:11 p.m., ladies and gentlemen, so I'm getting a little tired, but we'll go over these last ones. Touch the top of the regression line, whereas Ethereum, we haven't got there yet. I do suspect that if we see a reaccumulation range here in Ethereum, it'll probably be a rising gradient bottom somewhere around the $1,000 range, and then it's probably taking us to 2,600. On the like 18 months out, we could be going much higher. I think the 4236 on the Fibonacci extension, which we had drawn out yesterday, first lined us up to here, yep, and then the secondary spring of the all-time high, which we will look at as well, I think brings us to around $6,000. We also know that a lot of retail shows up, judging by the question people are asking. When prices get high, they buy at the wrong time. So what we will probably see is that all the big boys will start to be selling around $6,000, and then retail will buy us up to like $9,000 or $10,000, and then we'll probably drop back down and then reaccumulate for probably a year or two afterwards at around $3,000 Ethereum. That would be my guess. And that's like an 18-month to 24-month outlook, by the way, too. This is not an overnight thing. So don't be impatient with any of these outlooks. But we did already hit our first 4236 line based off of our spring. So we're right at the we haven't hit our 4236 line based off of our spring yet. So I do think we're going to get to $2,600 Ethereum pretty easily, just like we saw with Bitcoin getting us to $40,000 pretty easily. Okay, hopefully that was helpful, guys. Thank you for the question there and the super chat. Let's fire back over. Take a look at some more of your guys' questions. See if there's any more super chats. Nope. Okay, great. Cody Reed, thank you. I appreciate that. You guys are so kind, giving super chats and not even asking questions. That's so crazy. Shout out to Cody Reed. How long will this dump last? You know, guys, again, I can't stress this enough. The best way to become a good investor is to execute monthly based off your ability to budget. If you think you're going to be able to buy the dip, first off, you're wrong. You probably won't be able to do. You'll miss it, and you'll get stressed out, and you'll screw up, and you'll buy and sell at the wrong times. You'll make all kinds of mistakes unless you're a very talented trader, which takes years to get to. And then once you are, it's a totally different ballgame. It's much easier to make millions of dollars at that point than it is to make hundreds in your first early days. So don't worry about it. Focus on being a good investor, which is execute monthly. So that's important. How long will the universe last? Yes. That's a great question. How long will the universe last? I love that. Should I sell my pumpkins before November? Yeah, you should sell them. You should have them all sold, hopefully by October 31st. And whatever you don't sell, you should turn into pumpkin seeds, because those are delicious. Yes, these are great questions. You guys are coming up with great questions now. How long will today last? 24 hours. You guys are fantastic. Thank you. That was great to see. These are that was fun. Burn the sage. Get rid of the retail investor questions. Be gone, retail investor questions. Funny questions only. We're gonna give the sage to Ganesh this time. Oh, that was fun. Noob here, quietly learning. Thank you guys. Oh my God! Now the dip is rebounding. You are very knowledgeable. What is your take on Chainlink? Okay, we will take a look at Chainlink. FXRP, they're garbage compared to things like SNX, Aave, Band. Any number of the DeFi projects are significantly more interesting than XRP. That's for damn sure. Arcane Fungi. You know what's fantastic, guys? I'm a huge fan of mushrooms. In case you didn't know, I've got mushrooms all around the house right now, from like all the reishi I found, all the psychedelic ones we find too. What does the dip mean for Band? If you didn't have a position, it may be a time to find one. It depends. There's such a broad question. You know, it really depends on what type of trading strategy you're looking for, what type of execution you can get based off that trading strategy. Band appears to be producing somewhat of a bottom, but again, there's a lot of volatility in the market right now. Could we go lower? Yes, but I'm going to be patient. I'm not going to think about making any trades tonight. Not even close. Not when there's this much volatility. The last good trades were at $23,000 and $25,000 and $700 Ethereum. The current trading ranges are very volatile. With Band, my entries were at $7, so I haven't got stopped out yet, but really close. I was really close. Shit, these are right near my entry points. Might be a time to actually re-heavy my position in Band, to tell you the truth. Okay, let's take a look. A few more of your guys' thoughts and questions. We'll keep going over these. Chaga water extract. Yeah, I love chaga. What do you say about Ethereum about to dump? A better time to consistent look again. Unless you're like a really active trader, you should just be executing like on a specific day. You shouldn't even be thinking about price. Hope I don't lose out. I bought it 40 grand. See, this is what I mean. Retail finds the way to buy like right at the very top. It's like retail is professional at buying at the absolute top, like 100%. It's so crazy. Like the second time I bought Bitcoin, it was like at $1,000. It was at the very top almost at that moment before it went back down to 200 in like 2013. Do you spot or leverage in building a position on potential opportunities? It depends what I buy spot for my investment and then for trading leverage. I was planning on adding Band to my bag. Yeah, this would be probably a good spot. We're right near my entries from the PDF that we released to our private members. And again, hey guys, everyone's in the private group. You will be getting a PDF tomorrow and a PDF the day after that and a PDF the day after that. So again, because of the new year, I was pushed back on a lot of my content production. So I apologize for the delays in that, but you're going to get an overload in the next few days. Yeah, newbies will have a hard time handling the ride here. It is very volatile. You need to think about budgeting and executing your ability to build a portfolio effectively. That's the important part. This and look, guys, that may actually we might not come lower before we go higher for Bitcoin too. That's the other important part to remember. Let's go back and take a look at Bitcoin here. These distribution like this may not actually bring us lower. We have some of the world's biggest investors here that are trying to get their hands on every little Bitcoin that they can get. So they're probably trying to scare retail investors right now. Like, oh my God, I bought it 40 grand. Should I sell and rebuy back at 20? the big fish are trying to take your Bitcoin away from you. If you bought it at 40 grand, we could be going to millions over the next few years. Just seriously focus on building a market, like a budget where you execute on specific days every month or every quarter, and just shut up. That's it. That's all you got to do. You'll win over the long term if you play like that. That's how so many people have gotten rich throughout their life, and they didn't have to do anything. They didn't have to think whatsoever. You know, now the other important part to remember here is that what we want to do is really watch this trading range. If Bitcoin comes back up here and can't get above the trading range, yeah, we're going to come lower and form a new reaccumulation range, maybe as low as $23,000 to $26,000, where our POC lines are currently running at here, which is around here. Yeah, this is another great example of effort versus result. Here, look at the result of the downswing that I just created, not very big, versus the effort of this downswing here, significantly larger result. So we're seeing bearish indicators, at least temporarily, on the 4 hour. Again, just for active, well traders only, not for the investors to really even listen to that type of stuff. But Bitcoin could come lower still here, so it wouldn't be too. I'm gonna wait for to see what it does. If it all of a sudden shoots back up and closes above the trading range, we could easily go to $50,000 or $60,000. So keep that in mind. Okay, guys, I'm getting a little tired. It's almost midnight here in Costa Rica. Thank you all for joining us on this live stream. I wanted to go over that because this rounded top schematic, and this is a great opportunity to learn something. How low it goes, that's really the question. Should I sell my ETH for mushrooms? Yes, these are the questions I like. Because I know I don't have to answer that. I know it's funny. And actually, because so thank you guys. This has been a lot of fun. I really like doing these live streams and episodes. Let's take a look at your guys' questions and run back here. I love this. I love being able to just chat with you guys. It's so much fun. Where would you allocate 10 grand? Again, think about long-term specific buys on a monthly or quarterly basis. Jesus Christ, I need like a tape recorder so I can just play that back. Like, guys, the mantra is really simple for investors. Please help me. I'm very young, started investing in ETH, but I'm in a loss and I just want to recover my $50 loss. Oh my God, I know that's probably a real post, but look, $50 is nothing. $50 is nothing. You didn't lose $50. The lesson of buying is worth more than $50. Alter Ego Gaming. So just shut the fuck up and don't ask silly questions. Find a time when you can get more money in Ethereum a month or two later. Not financial advice, by the way, but first off, nobody cares about your $50. That's for damn sure. It's not that big of a deal. What you need to do is focus on the thing I've said over and over and over and over and over again, which is to build a monthly budget and execute. That's it. That's all you got to do. First time here, very cool setup. Thank you guys. Hey, give us a thumbs up if you like this content, guys. It really helps other people find this content. I want to give a shout out to all of our new subscribers. We almost like 200 new subscribers in the last few days. I can definitely tell we're in a bull market again just by the growth of the channel. Thank you guys for all the super chats. I really appreciate that. As you saw, we gave it right back to an entrepreneur in where was she? Kenya? Rwanda? I forget. I think it was Kenya. What kind of mushrooms do you recommend for traders? Psychedelics, lion's mane, and cordyceps. Those three are my favorite. Should I put 20K into Ethereum? Jesus, how many times do I have to repeat myself? Guys, build a monthly execution campaign, and that's what will make you feel the best over long term. What type of mic do you use? Oh, here's a good one. This is a Rode NT1. It is it's a USB mic. It's fantastic. Thank you for that. Good non question. $50 is a lot to some. Yeah, when you're younger, Alter Ego Gaming, what you need to do is not worry about price and think about decades, first off, because you're young. It sounds like very obviously you're young. And you need to think about executing consistently. Are you in Costa Rica to avoid taxes? I'm in Costa Rica because I grow ayahuasca outside, and I grow Mimosa hostilis, and I have a waterfall on my property. I also don't have to pay as much taxes. That happens to be another benefit, but that's not not the main reason why. Would you divide a lump sum over several months? Yeah, because you're going to feel better in general. But the best times to enter were like a few months ago. So now it would be kind of silly to just go all in. You're going to just make an emotional mess of yourself. Whenever you say not financial advice, hold on, I want to read that question. Oh, that man. I recommended 3 mushrooms for traders. That's true, I did. What's your favorite thing about Costa Rica? The waterfall I have on my property, and the fact that I grow ayahuasca. Let's see what else. Yeah, the sunsets. We could probably, if you want, follow me on Twitter or Instagram. You guys can see why I love Costa Rica. What kind of weed do you smoke? I do not. I actually quit. But I do like smoking hash when there's the opportunity. You're going to have to repeat yourself a lot. We're in a bull market. Yeah, I know. All the newbies are here. Get used to repeating yourself. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Host Defense from Paul Stamets. Yeah, great choice. What's your favorite design on LSD tabs? I always liked the Albert Hoffman artwork by Alex Gray. Another great random question. How do you get trading view in dark mode? Top right-hand corner in settings. And you might have to pay to upgrade to pro. I don't even remember. It's been a while. No, that is definitely not the reason for a dip in Bitcoin. It's just bigger players moving the market, testing the supply, seeing how low they can get it to go so they can buy it back. Again, this distribution may be over. That may be as low as it goes. We're about to find out. Keep that in mind. That was just like the distribution top, the schematic that we went over here. Let's go over this one more time before I sign off. This schematic here, it doesn't mean that we go down to $20,000 right now. I'm just saying we could. We could turn around, go above the trading range and continue to $50,000 or $60,000. And that's actually probably the more likely scenario, is that we turn around and keep going. The reason being is because there's so many big players here that have enormous amounts of money. You have to remember, in the beginning of this video, I said people like Jim Simmons, who have hundreds of billions of dollars to play around with, are in these markets. So if they're testing the supply, all they want to do is know how low can it go, and then they'll run it up again. They don't really care about. They don't ask questions like, oh, will it go to $900? Like, I'm down $50. They don't care. You should not care then either. So in terms of these distribution supplies, because we're in a bull market, like that might have been it. So I wouldn't rely on it going lower if you're trying to accumulate. That's why I suggest buying monthly, buying quarterly, and not thinking about the price. If you want to study, join our private group in the links down below. No shill, no shame. arcanebear.com/private. No questions asked, refund guarantee. It's a mastermind group with over 500 people now, which is just incredible. I'm blown away that the community grew so big so fast. Thank you guys for that. It means the world to me. But more importantly, you can find everything for free, or you can join a group of people who are aiming at helping one another, which is my best choice. We are all living in a simulation. It's awesome. This guy's a legend. Thanks, Caveman. I appreciate that. Best live video on YouTube I've seen for crypto. Caveman, thank you for that. I really appreciate that. I want to give a shout out while we're out here to the Crypto Lark, to Michael from Box Mining, to Omar Bam from Crypto News. These other content creators who are not only good friends of mine, but who have relentlessly showed up providing content about this sector every freaking day. Actually, even though I'm not like necessarily friends with Ivan on Tech because we've never chatted. Carl the Moon, Ivan on Tech, all the Crypto, people I haven't met, but people that keep showing up and providing valuable content for this sector. Thank you. And thank you for the kind comment, Caveman, about this channel. Do you listen to Tool? Oh, fuck yeah. I fucking love Tool. Actually, that deserves something. I want to show you guys this. I'm like a huge fan of Tool. So for those of you that don't know, let's take a look around the bear cave. So if you look around the bear cave, you can see I have here's my drum kit. I have my little recording studio over here. Got like this petrified piece of wood in the center of the room. Anyways, that's that. I do love Tool, in case you were wondering. A huge fan of the world's best band. Absolutely. Okay, yeah, don't be whale food, guys. Tell us about Bitcoin Cash. I don't like it. Please show us the pics of the jacuzzi. The jacuzzi is upstairs in the bedroom. You must have been so high. You must have been so high. What is it? Steal, borrow, reverse, savior, shady inference. Best drummer in the world is Danny Carey. What's your favorite guitar? Oh, hey, I like where this is going. Danny Carey's a personal hero of mine too, right? I agree. Guys, I'm a huge fan of Tool. Like, I can't stress to you how much I love Tool. Like, I'm gonna grab a few things here up first off. And maybe we'll do, because it's late at night and it's pretty much bedtime, we're gonna leave you guys off with just a tiny little bit of music. Not on the guitar, but we're gonna use the oud, because that's what I have. But for those of you that are interested, on my 19th birthday, first off, yeah, I love Tool, but this is like one of my favorite pieces of content. This is the Revolver magazine Tool. Can you see? This is like a collector's item. It's like my mainstay that I keep on my desk. I know we're gone totally away from crypto now, but if we all have this much in common about mushrooms and Tool, I really, really wanted to get into that one. I love this stuff so much. And then for those of you that don't know who Tool is, you definitely need to listen to them because you're missing out. And let's give a shout out to our favorite drummer here while we're at it. And then let's see, we'll hold this book open. See if I can find Danny Carey's drum kit. Yes. Oh, is it Devil's Island? Yeah, it is. Look at this. Look at this class gangster. So this is Danny Carey. I don't know if you can see him standing beside his Lamborghini here in his Lakers jersey. World's best drummer. Anyways, shout out to Danny Carey. Totally funny. I'm glad that the conversation has gone from Bitcoin to mushrooms. That's kind of a nice little feature. Okay, let's take a look at a few more of you guys' thoughts and questions. Can we talk about Bitcoin? Already went over Bitcoin over at the beginning of the video. This is the end of the stream now. When you're far away from the mic, we can't hear you. Okay, that's it. We're going to leave it at that. So guys, we're going to leave you off with just a little bit of a ditty here. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Let's see. Apparently we need to tune this. She's not in tune, but that's okay. She needs to be. Thank you all for that little bit of a little bit of randomness at the end here about mushrooms and Tool. I absolutely love it. And last question, do you like DeFi projects? Yes, I think DeFi is a really big deal. It's a really, really big deal. I don't think most people have recognized how big of a deal that is. Still with the Arcane Bear. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Thank you guys for such a fun, random episode at the end of this here. It's so ridiculous. I really, really enjoyed this part where we went into the middle of nowhere here. If you're into ayahuasca and spirituality, read Supernatural by Graham Hancock. Great book, yeah, great book. I'm a huge fan of Graham Hancock and Ancient Civilizations for whoever had asked that before. What's the name of the instrument? This is an oud. This is a fretless ancient Arabic instrument that I play. I'm a big fan. I've been playing music my whole life. Total side point. Anyways, I really appreciate all the support right now. If you guys want, join the private group. Again, no refund or no questions asked. Refund if you're not happy. Although we have very, very, very few unhappy people. I'm gonna leave it at that. And actually, you know what, guys? I love you. You're a miracle. This whole existence is absolutely fantastic. Be kind to one another. Life is full of tragedy for each of us. And although it looks really sweet, I'm sure from the outside, we all go through shit. So try to be as supportive for one another as possible. I know I give the newbies flack for, oh my God, I lost $50. It's hard. Life's difficult, man. I mean, I dropped out of school in grade 10. I hitchhiked from Canada through Central America with no money. I played music on the side of the road and in the middle of the city center to make food, sleeping on people's couches, sleeping on bus stops. Life is hard sometimes, but it's also extremely enjoyable. Any moment that you get to be alive is an absolute miracle. So be grateful for it, and then things usually get better. The more grateful for whatever it is you have, usually the better life gets. Anyways, we'll leave it at that. Let's deal with the Arcane Bear. Sign out.